Hello everyone. Namaskara. Am I audible? Okay. Hello everyone. Namaskara. We are here the fourth day of Chitra Bharati National Painter Artist Camp, in which all the days from the first day itself we had several programs. Each day evening we had a talk on different art forms. Today we have a particular art form that is practiced in the Konkan coast, one of the pride art form of the coastal west coast of India, that is called as Kaavi. I am presenting that and welcome to me. Thanks. Okay. And myself, Dr. Janardhan Rao Havanje. I practice and work at my native district of Udupi, Havanje village, where both two rivers in between this land is located. After studying my masters, I did my PhD in the subject of Kaavi art from Manipal University and started reviving, also popularizing and giving education to about this art form to the younger generation. And it is happening since 18 to 20 years. Still, we are also studying and understanding more about Kaavi art and spreading the knowledge. Before I start, I'm just thanking Bharati Vidya Bhavan for giving me this great opportunity to become part of this Chitra Bharati, and also giving me stage to present in front of you. Before I start, also I just wanted to know how many of you heard about Kaavi art. Can you just raise your hands, please? How many of you heard about Kaavi art? Okay, so only few hands. So why I am asking, because Kaavi Kale or Kaavi art, most of people, they don't know it is existed or existing due to the awareness about this are not much there. Even in internet also, only few things are available. Apart from that, when we talk about Indian art forms, there are, apart from at least Kaavi art now have certain details in net, but there are several art forms. Like in Chitra Bharati, you could see there are more than the 23, 25 art forms. The artists came here and did doing two works here that will be going to in the collection of Bharati Vidya Bhavan. So when we talk about Kaavi art, the Kaavi art or Kaavi Kale, what is it? So basically, so Kaavi means red soil basically, and we call it Huramunji or Hurmunju in Kannada, Kaavi or Kav, Marathi and Konkani. The red pigment that is very prominently used in only two color variation. You could see in the image which I shared here. So this art form happens, will be done with only two colors, that is red and white. This red and white is very auspicious color for the Indian thoughts, Indian ideas. Even we put rangoli, the day where the day starts, where we use only white and red. That's why it is very, in a greater perspective, only these two colors earlier people used in their houses. Then now we are very colorful anyway. So how does it look when we talk about Kaavi art? How does it look in the buildings? So these are few one of the example of Kaavi art. The first one is very popular Kaavi art site, that is Kumta Mahalasanarayani temple, the first one, and this one, and the second one is at Biligi near Siddhapur. Basically this art form originated from Konkan coast, from Goa, and but there is also a big confusion about the originality, because there is also in my research I found the old traces of Kaavi art that is going to be 1162 AD, that is from Warangal, also few examples from Bengal, also few examples from Madhya Pradesh. So there is also a question how this art form spread to across like east coast to west coast to east coast, and the connection between these areas. Because when we talk about Kaavi art, we just talk about the Konkan coast, that is in Kaavi, particularly Kaavi art, the Goa, Karnataka coast and Maharashtra, south of Maharashtra. So we have several sites. In my research, I have documented 876 sites where Kaavi art is very prominently used. There are more sites, but over a period of the time we lost it because we don't have the knowledge to the save. They don't have the knowledge to save this art form. So we are trying to our best to save as well. So when we talk, the story just goes like this as well. There are few youngsters and students also here. I just wanted to share a story how this sixth sense, or we call some other sense, works. Why I am showing this image, because this is one of the very fine example of Kaavi art at Goa region, Prayag Madhav temple at Korgaon. So when we are traveling with my friend, he just mentioned that because the time is at about to reach 3 p.m. And we did not have food, because I am taking a bike at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, and there is no written data where you will find Kaavi art or what is exactly the designs. Only the few examples, without naming Krishnanand Kamath, Dr. Krishnanand Kamath from Honnavar, the Kaavi art will not sustain, because he is the person behind the first early revive of the Kaavi art, where he published a book from Karnataka Lalit Kala Academy, where we have a few understanding about Kaavi art. So later when I started researching, there are several people, they just pointed out few sites. But apart from that, I'm just understanding more about Kaavi art, where it is very prominent, and how this design language is possibly made using different tools. So this place where we are traveling is Korgaon, and it is just an empty road. There is both sides it's just forest, because there is without any stories, when we explain something, story could not be completed. So Indians are like that. So this is also a story that is happened with us. My friend was driving. He said, we are so hungry, we have to reach within 5-10 minutes. We are eating and taking rest, because since 6 a.m. we are just walked and have seen several places. So then some the visuals came up, that a certain type of drawing, certain type of things came in my mind, and I said, just stop here. There is a paddy field nearby, and after that a small forest area, and then there is some houses, the tile roof we could see. I said, see, I have a visual, we should go there and see. That is how I started the searching about these forms. So he said, no, you become completely mad. Now we have to ask you to ask a good doctor to take you to Nimans or somewhere. Every day you are thinking about Kaavi art, every day you are working about Kaavi art. It's better to reach a doctor now. So I said, no, we'll just go there and see, and we'll come back, and then whatever you say, we'll go. We want to go to Nimans or wherever we want to go, we'll finish that thing. So then when we cross, it's just like 500 meters from the main road, state highway. And there is an old structure and a person sitting. There are 3-4 houses we could see. And one old fellow, old Ajja, he is just sitting and about to take a nap. And I always keep a file, because if you just ask Kaavi art, nobody knows. When we talk about these designs, people have seen this in certain places, in the temples, in other areas. So when I shown it to them, he said, no. Then suddenly he looked at it. This is inside, because I can't understand Konkani, and that's why I took my friend with me. He said, it is inside. And then we entered into inside. Inside this beautiful temple was found, and so my friend got shocked, and to see, I know, because same way I got several sites. Wherever I'm getting just visuals, I'm just going through it and searching. Like that way, the same story, we got more than the 30 to 40 sites. Because why I am sharing you this story, because if we have some youngsters are here. Why I am telling you this story? Because if we have a good faith and good aim in certain field, definitely we could achieve that goal, and it will come near to you. It will automatically, it will reach to you to make it in a better way. So that is the whole story behind the search, finding the Kaavi roots. And also Kaavi art, when we talk about Kaavi art, none of the Indian art forms are very diverse than the Kaavi art, because Kaavi art is very in traditional way or in a folk way, very prominent, and it can be, it not just, when we say Kaavi, maybe you will think that it is just a temple art, but not. So this can be found in churches. This is one of the example at Say Cathedral at Old Goa. There are several churches in Goa. We have Kaavi art, Lady of the Mount, Lady of the Rosary, and the old ruins of cathedral, the convent of Goa. So several Goan churches adopted this Indian Kaavi art in a different manner. They do one more step to this Kaavi art, so that the layers will be the flattened. So there are several ways to understand about Goan Kaavi art in particular. So this is one of the fine example at Say Cathedral, where we have Kaavi art. So now I just wanted to explain how this art form is made, because now maybe you have a understanding or question that, okay, we heard Kaavi art now, so what is exactly it is? It is not a painting. So maybe you thought that it's a painting, because a lot of my artist friends are there. It's not a painting. It is a method-based art form where etching is prominent. So these are the structures, nearly 400, 500, 600 years old structures near in our region. This is one Goan example. The second example is from Morjai temple near Morjimet, Goa. But this front portion is not there now. This building also had a very beautiful folk Kaavi art, very large also in the scale. But very sad to say, this also been demolished now. And on top of this, this stayed for a very long time on the walls. So if it is staying for a very longer duration, what is the method or what is the materials they used for creating this Kaavi art? So these are the materials in generally, when we talk about Kaavi art, they use. The main Kaavi art, as I said, the red mud, that is the main pigment we use for Kaavi art, that is in the center. Then the very important material that sustains the Kaavi art is seashells. So this Konkan coast, or any coast, they have a very huge amount of these seashells, the oysters and clams. People use the inner species in food, and the outer seashells, they keep it and they burn it, they slake it, then that is used for making the plaster. So there are several methodologies for this making the plaster in whole Konkan coast, in which I have documented 7 to 8 methods. There is, according to the region, according to the time, they use different materials. There are more than 23 ingredients they mix according to the time as well. And also the main ingredient, one of the ingredient is jaggery, that binds all things together. And lime is a natural material when you just keep, and it's a living material. Every the monsoon, it gets wet. Every summer, it gets its hardness, and that's how the lime plastered building. Even in Bangalore also, we could see old buildings that is sustaining, and it is lived for more than 200, 300 years. So the Mysore Palace or our KRS stamp, most of these things been built with the lime plaster only. But now, okay, now you may ask me why this art form got extinct. If it is so prominent and we have in lot of sites, because we are improvising, like we have got roads in like just 100 years back, we got good roads, and we started. The cement is a material that is coming to the people easily available, because lime needs to be prepared. Instead of that, cement is a very quicker material at that time. People thought that they shifted to that grey cement. But grey cement could not sustain the Kaavi art. The Kaavi art doesn't look, but people tried. Even in my documentation, there are few sites, including Venkatapur and few areas. They tried with the cement also. But grey and red, it's a complete, the opposite colors. It gives a very contrast idea. So it is not giving very appealing. Aesthetically, it is not good. Then they thought we'll just put the plain plaster. So this art form got vanished. The cement is one of the main reason that art form got vanished. So I just want to share few examples of old Kaavi art. So there are, what you will see in Kaavi art is mainly the three things. One is the mainly, when we say classification, there are narrative compositions, where the epics based stories like Ramayana, Bharata, Puran or Bhagavata, these stories, also Vedic cults, even the historical people, the local people, these are the the characters we will see in the Kaavi art. This is the two the best examples of Kaavi art that we will find in Kumta Malasanarayani temple at the entrance, the Surya Mandal and Chandra Mandal. And very interesting to see these artworks, not just these artisans not just worked in this, they had a good idea of iconography as well, because when we have this mythological story, the Aruna, Surya's Vahana, he has a he is actually Garuda's brother. He has only till the half of till waist. So they have not shown his legs in the image. Very interesting to see these renditions in olden times. This is done around 250 to 300 years before in that temple. There are very good example of Kaavi art is Kumta Mahalasanarayani temple. That is our the senior artist friend Veena Srinivas, she is practicing particular Kumta style. Why I say particular Kumta style? Because Kaavi art from several years it is passed through the generations, through the areas. So we will not find a particular form. Like if you say Madhubani, there is a similarity in Madhubani. Each Madhubani artist will paint similar, at least 70 to 90% you will see the similarities. But in Kaavi art, completely different. I'll show you why I am telling you like this. So this is one beautiful example of Ganesha that is done in Kumta Mahalasanarayani temple. And this is the original image that is taken by Dr. Krishnanand Kamath, because over a period of the time people painted on top of it and we lost the originality of the work as well. That's why I just wanted to show the original work that is documented by him before it is painted. This is one of the another best example of Kaavi art. This is still there. In one of the Kshetrapal temple at near Morjim. This is about to demolish, but we are requesting to not to, and we will try to give them funding. We are trying to revive, and we are trying to conserve this temple as a monumental area, because it has a very beautiful Dwarapalakas. It has a very beautiful designs in a sanctum as well. So very interesting designs in sanctum. That is very folk as well. And I worked the same rendition in my own style in Kaavi art. That is, I'll be showing later images. So these few examples of Shiva in Kaavi art, where we have the first one is at Hegade Shantikamba temple. We are about to conserve this temple as well. The temple has undergone 3 to layers of paint on top of it. The middle one is Marikamba temple. So if an artist is he don't have knowledge of art, what can be the next step we could see in Sirsi Marikamba temple. What happened is one artist became the president of the temple. He thought this art form like very faded and not looking good. They started painting on top of it. So that became a biggest enemy for the Kaavi art, and every 2 years they scrape the original artwork and they paint. So that is how even artwork is there, but they're scraping it and they're damaging it, and that is how this art form in a biggest exhibition hall of Sirsi Marikamba temple. Because when we talk about Kaavi art, Sirsi Marikamba temple is, may I know how many people you know about Sirsi Marikamba temple? Please raise your hand, please. Yeah, so maybe you have not observed Marikamba temple as much, because when we go to temple, we just see the goddess and do one namaskara and we pray and we come back. But actually, it is one of the biggest gallery of Kaavi art. And you may ask what they don't have in that gallery. They have Ramayana, complete Ramayana story. They have Mahabharata story. They have Dikpalakas. They have all the mythological figures, including Tipu Sultan and Krishnadevaraya's drawings. It is also a historical examples we could see. So this is example of Shiva from 3 different places. The third one is from Kumta temple. So you will see the different renditions, very different styles. That's why even it's always better to call this as a place style. That's why we call it as a Kumta style, the Sirsi style, either the Hegde style. Hegde and the Bhatkal maybe has done with the same person. We will see the same styles in both the places. This is again one of the Saraswati from the Kumta temple. I am doing the same artwork in my own interpretation in Yakshagana style for Vidya Bhavan. So this is the original work of that temple. Very interesting fact in this art form is you may have seen Saraswati sitting on a hamsa or a peacock and in a still posture, but here she is holding that the peacock not to go further and playing the veena. Very that movement is amused me when we see this form. No, there is a huge movement in the art. That is a very the strong point of these kind of folk renditions. In classical form, it may be not much movement, but in a folk form, they give the 150% of the movement. That is the very strong point of the folk paintings. That's why we call it as a it's a mixed form of folk and classicalness. So also a few examples from Honavar region. The first one is Mavin Kurve. When the Mavin Kurve works are done, they are very much influenced by the Ravi Verma paintings. Some of them are very much near to realistic style started coming up. Even when I was documenting the Sindhudurg side, sir, Chetan sir also here, Sindhudurg side, there is a Talavna temple. It is completely the copy of Ravi Verma's prints. Where the Varaha avatar is completely Vishnu is saving 4 Vedas. So very interesting rendition we could see there. The middle one is from also from Hosada, and the third one is interesting work from Kumta Maharasanarayani temple. So here also I am just wanted to show how like that rendition is different. Am I right? The styles are very different. What do you think? Is it same style? No. So the first one is from Honavar. Honavar is also one of the best example. Honavar Ram Mandir. They have very beautiful gallery of Kaavi art in outer side. The middle one is from Kumta and Beelgi and Hegde. But all the renditions are same. But even it is done in a different time, not in the same time. The Parashurama renditions from different places, Kumta, Beelgi and Hegde. Basically these are all not smaller works. These works are the bigger, like 4 feet to 6 feet taller. Then only when we are seeing them in the same scale, what scale we are seeing, no? This is the same scale what is there in the buildings as well. I said diverse, no, in earlier note. So that means not only church, even we have documented it in masjids. I documented it in some of the basadis, Jain basadis as well. Also, it is there in the folk deity buildings. That's why we call it as the building aesthetic craft. It's a building craft that can be seen in whichever building is possible. Wherever lime plaster is concerned, people were doing this art on the walls. So these are few examples again from Hegde, Kumta and Sirsi. When we are understanding about Kaavi art, so it is not that from the other artwork, we have one composition here of Bhimpalas Raga and Abheri Raga. Okay, this painting is finished. We have one more that is about Raga also, that painting is finished. But in Kaavi art, this is one of the example from Kumta again. It's not that you will see same thing, like it's a different thing, that's a different thing. Maybe you will see there is one chariot and he is throwing an arrow. In another one also you will see he is throwing an arrow. But basically it is not. They were fighting each other, but in the distance, in between there will be a door, one door will come, in between there will be window will come. But as a whole you have to look. So that's how we'll understand these mythological stories inside the Kaavi art. So it's a Karnarjuna Kalaga at Mahalasanarayani temple. Very interesting composition. If you don't know the Puranas, will not understand, because to understand which is Krishna and which is Arjuna's Ratha and which is Karna's Ratha, because there is only example that is Hanuma sitting on top of chariot. We could make out that is the Krishna's Ratha. So this is what, when I said Sirsi, feels very sad, right? This is the present condition of the areas. These are the biggest halls that served several people old days, and now these halls are just filled with these kind of waste materials, and nobody was entering to these places. Nobody is cleaning those places. Very sad to say. And also we are all, can anyone tell what is the composition is about? If you know about certain stories, what is it? Anyone please? Yeah, we are all Kumbhakarnas basically. We are in a sleep. We are in a sleep and we are not aware what's happening around us, and why we are losing these kind of cultural facts, cultural identity, and our local, the soil-based artworks around us. And we are not opened our eyes at. Still we are blind in that way. And you could see the enamel paint layer that is flashing up. Very interesting story they have done in a, the continue method of Indian understanding of Kaavi art here. So as I said, that is one is that narrative compositions in Kaavi art. The second part in the Kaavi art, that is this mandalas, the floral motifs and the geometrical pattern makings, that is very much popular in Kaavi art. So these kind of mandalas you will find wherever space is available, because every artisan is not popular, he could do figures. But every building will have these kind of mandalas, because these mandalas been created using geometrical tools. Very interestingly, they make, without using modern tools, they make 7 points, 6 points, 5 points, 9 points in a circle. It is a good example for Kaavi art. That's why we started a series of workshops for the schools at particular. We call it as Kakaki, Kannada Shalayalli Kaavi Kaleya Kishora Karyagara, because they will learn. But Kakaki is a thing they should learn. Through that we are teaching them through the geometrical tools how to understand art form, and it is very much easy for them to work with the geometrical tools. Even in the high schools, students will feel very much difficulty to understand how the mathematical tools work. So even some of the math teachers told us, sir, through your art, now they find very easy to work with the compass. So that is the, the strong, the practice of art. When we use these kind of tools through the art, teaching becomes very easy. So this is also certain designs that is there in Lady of the Mount Church. In the altar, they have done this at Alla, Goa. This is like some few years back they have opened. It had a wooden planks on top of it and wooden carvings they had. When they were renovating, they come to know about this art form that is created in the wall. And they apply the topper layer of the lime plaster so that the wall will get very flat. Kaavi art is etching based. I'll show you an example. This is how it is get vanished. This building is not there now. It is one of the example from Maharashtra. Very interesting, the folk form, and over a period of the time, actually the power is the biggest, enemy of the Kaavi art. When power came, they started, the putting up all these, pipes on top of this art form, and they started putting the nails, and the calendars came. They started putting the calendars on top of it, because this is just two colors, na? Why not? We should have a colorful calendars in front of it. Instead of originals, they are putting the prints on in front of them. So that is how this work got vanished, because once it gets damaged, there is a conservation methodology needs to be done on top of it. Otherwise, it will not sustain. May I know how many of you visited Kollur Mukambika temple here? Kollur Mukambika temple. Okay. So in Udupi, that is one popular example for Kaavi art, and where we will have these examples, but only two colors again will not get beautiful. That's why they painted with blue, painted with brown. So that is how mentality has changed instead of mono color schemes. So this is another examples from Kollur. Now this original building is demolished due to building maintenance. Now they have a new building in this place. This is called Saraswati Mandap, where we painted Kaavi art is there in that building. This is one of the best example from Kundapur on Krishna, and even in Kaavi art, this is done by Manjunath Kamath of Kundapur in 1946. Because it is well documented by his writings. One of the best example of original Kaavi art, and they painted blue in the background. Blue, it's actually white only. And this is Swamiji, where he comes and he stays, that room. And very interestingly, earlier days, these works are done with the, what you say, we ask for something from the God. And if it happens, because that artist had several sisters for him. Everybody, because he is senior, he is elder, he wants to, these girls to get married early and they should go out from the house. So every time he pray to God, and then he thinks that I'll do one work for God. So that is how the belief system has, came in Kaavi art. So some of the temples have done in a similar way. This is one of the example. And also, this is example from Gokarna. So as I said, whole coastal belt, Karnataka coastal, you will see this Kaavi art in a different condition. If you closely look into it, you will understand what are the damages we are doing. The slogan is become old now, because they are saying 2 kids now. No 2 kids, not even 1 kid, no kid now basically. So then it gets damaged, and they demolish the building. Very interestingly, so see, this is what happens when I reach to these places. Even I tell them to, at least I'll come back and trace it, and because my phone was dead, my camera battery was dead, and everything is dead. Only one phone image we have taken from this area. But by the time they taken it away, this is one of the very beautiful example. There is the Kaavi art is inspired by Yakshagana stories, that is at Gerusoppa region, in very island kind of a place. We have to cross from the boat, and we could see the beautiful rendition of Saraswati and the Kalinga Mardana Krishna and Saugandhika Pushpaharan. Very nice story rendition in Kaavi art. So also that is a thing that the people, when it gets damaged, they tried with the cement, but it doesn't look good. Then they remove the whole work. So that is, even they paint on top of it. There are several applications people tried on top of it, and that is how artwork and the art form in the building got vanished. I'm not boring you people, right? So we are all waiting for a very beautiful, the dance performances. I just take 10 more minutes, please, to explain about the process of Kaavi art, how we are doing the Kaavi art, how we are reviving the Kaavi art. This is the process where we, as I said, lime plaster we use for this. We're creating the blocks with the lime plaster. Now we are compressing the blocks, and on top of it, we apply this red mud layer. And when it is still wet, we just sketch on top of it. Just a little bit sketch we do. And then we start etching on top of it with the different type of tools. As I said, it's not a painting. We just reveal the white areas. We just start revealing the white areas. We apply whole and we etch on top of it. So this is at the beginning stage, how we start with the sketches and detailing. Then the completing the drawings from all areas. Some more detailing. Then the mandapa or whatever things are needed. This is the same examples I have taken from one of the Kshetrapal temple from Goa. And very interesting sitting pose. That's why I thought of having this Vinayaka in my work. And then this is the final rendition. Then we remove whichever portions are not needed, because artists are very lazy people. Simply how we could work, we will see the possibility. So this is the final rendition. These are the few examples over the years in different places, in the workshops and areas we practiced, practiced, and gave awareness with the Kaavi art. And then certain workshops with the INTAC, and INTAC means Indian National Trust for Art and Cultural Heritage, and also with the government schools, with architectural colleges, art colleges, also the interested people, maybe hopefully in future with the Vidya Bhavan also will be collaborating and doing workshops here in these premises. And also some examples that is reaching certain people and they are appreciating the works of Kaavi art. The Sringeri Sharade I did with the yellow soil, using yellow soil as well. And some of the examples that reached Binala exhibitions also, and some big companies they also adopted this with the the corporate gifting, and we are providing the artworks for them as well. The bottom example is from the best work what we say from our studio happened at Avarsa, Katyayani Baneshwar temple. They have gave us more opportunity to work. It's a long story. I'm not explaining. If you are free here to these stories, because I have a lot of stories to tell in Kaavi art. So these are the conservation projects we are doing. We are not only as an artist, we are just working, just painting, or just the working with the etched based method Kaavi art. Also we are conservating these. This is one of the temple at Marcel, 374 years old, Piso Ravalnath temple. We recently finished this conservation project. The whole temple had a very beautiful Kaavi art, and what the work we are cleaning it, this had a 1 to 1.5 centimeter of plaster on top of it, and we removed all the plaster and revealed the artwork, the Dwarapalakas at the back side. And interestingly, what Chetan sir is practicing the Chitrakati, so Chitrakati style and this Dwarapalaka has a very same style that is very prominent, because it is very much connected in that region. So this is another project we did, that is the before and after image. So when we enter to this site, that is the condition, and when we finish it and conserve it and give it like this after the, and this project is very much appreciated with the Goan CM, and he regularly visits this temple as well. So this is one of our biggest project in 2000, post-COVID we had due to this we survived some way. So at Mangalore International Airport, because Kaavi art can be seen in each and every areas, then I asked them to give me a space at ceiling as well. The ceiling, what you see, all the panels been removed, and we put Kaavi art panels on the ceiling. And there are 2 more compositions. If you are visiting Mangalore airport, it is in the arrival area. So this art form can be seen. So this is one more attempt with the traditional methodology I have tried on the block with the application of thicker plaster, where it is 5 by 7 feet Veera Ganapati work. It is weighing around 115 kg. Because due to that plaster, I took 6 months for finish the artwork, including the plaster preparation. And this is like in my collection only, because I don't know this I will be doing again or not, because the same way how it is there in the walls, same way you could see. Some of the works I'll show, and I'll finish my slides. These are the 32 forms of Ganesha I worked in 2023 show in Yakshagana style, and even including the the shlokas, Dhyana shlokas at the bottom, that is from Mudgala Purana. And some more examples of Kaavi art where Krishna avatars, and also I started creating a Dvipadis for artworks, where the first artwork, the Govardhan Giridhari, has a Dvipadi, because my father is a Yakshagana guru and a poet. So he wrote 13 Yakshagana prasangas. So with him we collaborating for these texts, and we are writing Dvipadis and Tripadis and Chatushpadis in Kaavi art, so that art form that is not just an art form, it should have other glimpses of lyrical, the poetic explanation as well. The other example is Yashoda and Krishna Balarama in the Kaavi art. And then some more example of in Yakshagana style, some more example of Krishna avatar. So these all for the private projects we have done and we are doing, and lot more people. Actually, in fact, the Bangalore RBI is supporting a lot. They are asking us to give some gift items in the Kaavi art. So that way we are sustaining. In my village, we taught it to more than 40 to 45 people. Now 16 to 18 people working with me. So that we will share this knowledge and share this aesthetical form to the outer world. This is one of the example that demolished for highway, when highway is widened. That is at Naikanakatte, Baindur. So sometimes what I feel, our work, it is not enough, and maybe these kind of several things are around. We are not sure what we are saving, and because we adopt several things, and the younger generation, they even don't read more books now, and we don't know what happens to the archives, what have happened to the things what our ancestors made. Because to understand certain cultural histories or understand more about it, we should be very eye-opened and look into certain areas around us. Even Bangalore also lost several things, and people have wanted to get those things back and collect those memories. And the artists are one communities, they always see these cultural aspects, cultural things, these motifs or matters in a different way, because they have more time. Maybe they have more time, that's why they are looking to these aspects. Anyway, with this last slide, I'll just conclude my presentation of Kaavi art. I hope I have not bored you, because if you ask me about Kaavi art, me or Veena ji, we can talk hours and hours and hours till night. We are not bothering about the time. Not even me. All the artists are here. Everybody, if you talk about their art form, they can talk a lot about their art forms. And thanks a lot, Vidya, Bhavan, for giving me this opportunity to present this and having me here. Thank you. Namaskara.